Alright, I'm going to do a little assembly video on the S18. Go over a little how-to and some troubleshooting. But first we're going to unbox this. Let me show you how it looks on the inside. See how well it's packaged. It's going to take me probably 15-20 minutes to get all that stuff off, but I'll show you how I open the box. Because I lay it down on the ground on its side, kind of open it like a big taco. All the tools that you will need. I like to use a razor knife, cutters for the zip ties, and this little wrench will get out a bracket that they put in the front fork. There is a little toolkit that comes with the bike. The whole bike can be assembled with that whole toolkit. I actually emailed them about changing the size of the bolts on that safety bracket for the nuts, so it fits one of the wrenches that's included in the kit. And I'll show you the kit once I get everything unpacked. I didn't go down far. Obviously you want to make sure you don't cut your tires. Okay. The little toolkits right inside here. There's your toolkit, charger, and a pretty nifty little how-to assemble the bike, and some basic guide for your LCD display. And I'll actually put a link in the description for a very comprehensive guide to your LCD display that lets you get in there and change a lot of the settings for how fast the pedal assist goes and how much it helps you. But I always just leave everything alone. It's fine the way it is. But if you're a tinkerer, you might be into it. All right. Well, I'm going to get all that packaging off. No need to sit there and watch me do that, and then I'll be back. Okay. All the packaging is done. Basically, the bike's in the same position as we left off. And I'm going to bring you over here. Here is the bracket they use to ship the front fork. You don't need this bracket at all. All you gotta do is loosen it up and toss it, or find another use for it, which would be great. But I kept mine for like 6 months, but never did find another use for it. Let me put this down. Oh, let me show you the keys. The keys are right here, and be careful when you cut that zip tie off right there that you don't cut any of the wires or anything. So I'll get to that in a second. I just wanted to have you make note. Oh. Bracket out of here, and your keys are for your battery box. You can't just go down and get another set of keys, so make sure You keep track of your keys, put the spare where you need, and get some made if you need to. Some locksmiths will tell you they need the key on the, or the key code on the key. There's a number on some keys, or they can't make a key for you. But those locksmiths aren't real locksmiths. The real locksmiths, when I went in to get one made, they're like, oh, we can't do that. Called another place, and they're like, yeah, we can do that. The difference is that they actually took the key and mashed it up to a blank and grinded it down to be exactly what it needed to be. The other place needed the code to find the exact blank, or they couldn't make you a key without that. So. I like to use the bungee to help keep the bike up. I'm going to put the seat on. And the seat's going to help us in a little bit when we flip the bike over and put on the front tire. We're going to keep the seat a little bit higher than when we mount up the handlebars. The LCD will be kind of right here. So we're going to keep the seat a little bit higher than that. So all the weight's on the seat and none of it's on your LCD display. Okay, we'll get our trusty little toolkit right here. Let's see where we're lined up here. That's pretty decent. So I bought one of these bikes like 5 or 6 years ago. Put a couple thousand miles on it. And I was like, wow, okay, seems pretty legit. So I bought another one with the color scheme that I wanted. I had that one for probably 5 years. Put over 8,000 miles on it. And I finally got to the point where I just kind of wanted a nice shiny new one. So I bought another one. And then several months later, they came out with a bigger battery. And I was like, oh man, I really want that one. Now they have another one that has a bigger motor. Now I'm thinking I really want that one. When will it stop? I don't know. Okay, you see there's a little hole right here, and there is basically a bullseye that's oblong, just like this hole is oblong. The oblong goes up, I don't think you can turn it, no you can't. And you want this little bullseye to be facing in there. Gives you a really good rough estimate of where you want the handlebars to be mounted at. So just line those two up. Make sure you don't cross thread anything. And you can fine tune where you want your handlebars once you get it nice and snug. You want it up a little bit higher, down a little bit, but you'll see the bullseye is right inside there. I always like to tighten them a little bit and then move on to the next one, and then to the next one, and then go back and keep on rotating around. You don't want to tighten just one all the way because your bracket won't get on evenly. Come back and tighten this up after we get everything else done, so you don't have to sit here and watch every little twist. So there's little connectors like this. There's a tiny little groove in one side and a part that extrudes out. You want to make sure you line it up so you don't bend any of the prongs in there. Plug it in. Sometimes you'll get an error on your LCD display. You can just go around and check your little connectors to make sure they're connected up. A lot of times that will fix it. I will put a link to the LCD manual, and I'll have all the error codes in there. Okay, where are we at? Pedals? Yeah, we can do the pedals. There should be a little tiny L or R. Here's an R. R is clockwise, normal. The left side is counterclockwise. You got another connector back here for the motor, quick disconnect, which is nice in case you need to change your tire or something. You don't have to take the wire all the way out from the controller. You just disconnect it right there. But you want to check that connector as well. I like laying out the cardboard like this. It gives you a nice big mat to assemble the bike on. I just pull the rear brake and kind of walk backwards with it, and it stands the bike right up with it. Okay, let's look at that brake real quick. How are we doing for an angle? Well, we're gonna want that right here when we come back. Somewhere up in the sky. Okay. So the brakes, remember back in the day you would just pull this, loosen this, pull this to get more brake pad, but these days you don't really touch that. That's only like if your cable's really loose or something. So there is a set screw right here. Come on, let's see if I can actually use the camera today. You back that out, and then you turn this one, and that'll push your brake pad in or out, depending on which way you turn it. So when the tire's in there, you turn this until it stops, and then you back it out about a quarter turn. Make sure your tire still spins. And whenever your brakes, you need more brakes, you do that. You undo that, turn this in just a little bit, tighten, back off quarter turn, spin the wheel, make sure it spins. If for some reason the whole caliper is a little bit too close to the tire, you can loosen these two guys right here, and they actually move back and forth just a little bit. So you loosen that, pull your brake handle to kind of tighten it and see where it wants to sit on its own, and then you tighten it back down. Okay, let's get this front tire on. Has the hardware already on it. One side has a washer and a locking washer. The other side just has the locking washer. Don't put everything on the outside of this. So you just want to make sure your brake pad fits in between the two brake. Your brake disc brake fits in between the two brake pads. It looks like my light's in the way down there. We got a front fender to put on here in just a second. Oh, there's it upside down. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, we'll probably have to adjust that caliber a little bit. And loosen that up. Get it to go over. But it actually, once we, I want that washer on first. Once we tighten this wheel down, it might sit just right. Getting a little windy. Nope. Still need to adjust that. Ooh, that is on there. Oh, Helps if I go the right way. Definitely not a mechanic. I'll probably just leave that a little bit. That will wear out as soon as I start riding. Well, I tightened it up and moved a tiny bit. I better hold it in place while. Let's see. I'll fine tune it here in a little bit, but you get the gist of it. Okay, where are we at? Flip it over and turn it on. Typically, you're going to want to, charge the battery all the way up before you go on your first ride. But oh, I got the front fender to put on. There's already a nut and bolt on there for the LED light, so we don't need this one. There's also a little cover on the LED light. Peel that off. Maybe. One of these. And there's a bracket right here. This goes on the back side of the bracket with the locking nut. And it has a little bit of adjustment. You can move it up and down. Same with the fender on the back side. You can move it up and down as well. Get it kind of snug. I'm going to move my stuff where I want it. So let's go over the battery removal and how to lock it and unlock it. You can charge the battery while in the bike, or you can bring it in the house and charge it. The little charger port is right here. That's how I usually put a hand on the backside here and kind of push it out. It helps. And the battery has these little deadbolt type things that actually go up. That's how it stays in place. Has two of those. So usually put the battery in, give a nice little slap, turn that in, and one more turn will actually like turn on the ignition. So once that's on, you can actually finally turn on your e-bike. Okay, the M button you're gonna hold down for 3 seconds. LCD pops up. You're on pedal assist 0, which is basically the bike is off. So you obviously want some help. So we're at least gonna put it on 1. To turn on your LED screen backlit, and as well as your light here and the tail light, you hold this down for 3 seconds and you'll see a little light icon come on the screen and your LED is on, which is plenty bright enough here, but it's like it doesn't show up on the camera. That's pretty cool. And this little guy is on as well. Plus it gets brighter when you hit the brakes. It'll actually light up even brighter. And it always works whether this is on or not for the brake light. You hold it down for 3 seconds, it turns it off. Here is your manual gears. As you can see, it has 1 through 7. And you don't want to mess with this when the bike is stationary. It kind of puts the sprocket in the wrong spot when it wants to shift gears. So you only want to mess with this while you're moving. And as you can see, the plus signs there, so that's the minus. And if you're not familiar with the e-bikes or anything, just keep it on pedal assist 1 for a little bit. And so we're going to push that up to 1. And probably just keep this in like gear 2 or 3 and till you get a couple rides in, then start messing with this and you'll become more familiar and more confident. This bike also has a twist throttle, which is very handy for when you first get on the bike and you're trying to get going. You just kind of hit this throttle and it gets your balance up and then you can start pedaling. Okay. I guess just for the fun of it, I will go down the driveway. Oh, that's up way too high for me. There we go. Cool. I need to tighten up the handlebars and the seat. All right, well, enjoy your e-bike.